Hi everyone, it is currently the 18th of June 2011. Meteorologist Robert Spett here with WesternPacificWeather.com, and today we draw our attention into the Philippines, where Tropical Depression 06W, or Tropical Depression EGAY here, being called by Pagasa, is currently located approximately 500 miles to the east-southeast of Manila, center of circulation here just east of Samar off of Visayas, and it's moving off, drifting about 10 to 15 knots off towards the northwest, basically just skirting the east coast of the Philippines here, and producing a large amount of precipitation across much of the archipelago today. Actually, a large area of convection moved onshore just earlier here. Actually, you can kind of indicate it in the last few slides here, or excuse me, the last few frames here, and a large amount of precipitation already being recorded across much of the Philippines. I actually saw some video out of Cebu City yesterday. If you're watching this on the website, you just scroll down here, some video out of Cebu City just showing some large amount of flooding being indicated in some of the poor drainage areas here. So just want to note that as well, is that the winds from this system is not really the main concern here. It is more or less the amount of precipitation that's coming out of here. The high amount of precipitation actually being indicated here in white. You can actually see a lot of these higher cloud tops moving up here and across much of Mindanao and up into Visayas today. This is producing that heavy rain and causing that flooding in a lot of these low-lying areas. But showing the confirmation on the center of the circulation of this system just off the east coast of Visayas. It is indicated here on the visible imagery with the center of circulation here actually being indicated overall right in here. A lot of these low-lying clouds actually be coming out here on the visible imagery. It's kind of hard to tell that in the IR imagery because that takes temperature advice actual being able to see this here. And this is imagery taken approximately 0230 Zulu, or about 1130 in the Philippines. And just also showing a lot of this convection out towards the west. Actually, this mass amount right in here. All these are cumulonimbus tops or thunderstorm tops drifting off towards land here. Actually just showing Samar here just on the western periphery of this picture right in here. And also just showing that really this is where that mass amount of precipitation is coming off of. It was a little misleading earlier today because it kind of did look like the center of circulation it was in the midst of this convection, but really it's just kind of being sheared off with an exposed center of circulation out here just towards the east. This is kind of good in the fact that this is going to weaken the system, and it may not get as intense as originally forecasted, as the center of circulation and the max winds is actually well offshore, and really a lot of dry air starting to inflow into the midst of this. And also noting that once you start to get this basically uncovered here, it's like taking the blanket off of something. You're really going to release a lot of the heat in the center of the circulation, and we all know that tropicals are a warm core low. So once you release this cover coming off the top of this, it's actually going to cool the center of the circulation of the system, and thus also weaken it, because the warmer the waters are and the warmer the center of circulation, the stronger the system is. And once you expose that, it's going to gradually weaken. But that covers intensity and precipitation out of this, but where will the center of circulation go here in the next 24 hours? Well, really I'm kind of leaning towards what GFS is showing. It's going to be very disrupted here, moving off towards the northwest, just skirting the east coast of Luzon. Now I'm nudging it forward to actually go a little bit farther towards the west than what is showing being shown here on this GFS model. Actually, if we look at the streamline analysis, you can see the overall background flow here, and just showing that a lot of these arrows are pointing off just towards the northeast coast of Luzon, specifically Pari, once again, as basically it seems a lot lately, is going to take the full brunt of this tropical storm, tropical depression at this time, as it moves onshore here just off the northeast coast of Luzon. Now, here are the warnings from various agencies around the ocean out here, around the Western Pacific. Starting with JTWC, though, basically they have it tracking off towards the northwest here, maxing out about 55, gusting up to 70 knots here in the Luzon Strait, before it gradually starts to weaken here as it continues to track off into colder temperatures, and then just making landfall northeast of Hong Kong. So actually, in the long run, Hong Kong needs to continue to closely monitor this, because it could be a flooding situation up there as well, and also much of these mountainous areas in Taiwan. Also noting farther off towards the right here, though, also showing Pagasa's warning, and they have a little bit farther towards the southwest. And actually, for once, I'm actually kind of leaning towards what Pagasa is saying on this, with it making landfall along the northeast coast of Luzon, tracking off across the northeastern portion of the island, with Apari kind of taking the full brunt of this system. And also GMA here on the bottom right. Now, they're really kind of not being anything defined on this. Is actually fairly vague of what they put out on it, and I think that's partially really due to the fact that it's not very organized, 06W here, not very organized, and overall, though, lacking the convection and lacking a lot of those factors that take in place to where you can analyze and track where the exact center of the system is going to go. So they're really kind of continuing to be vague, but as of right now, I would lean more towards what Pegasus is putting on this. Thus, on that note, as for today and into tomorrow, I would expect for some warnings to actually be put out here along the eastern coast. I've seen some signal warning number 1 actually being put out for much of these areas up in Visayas and the east coast of Luzon, but also noting that actually would expect some warnings for some flood potential out here, especially around the Manila area and down towards much of Visayas, and it's noted in Cebu City yesterday, also seeing some flooding out there. So really, as noted yesterday here, much of the east coast of Luzon, Manila also in this green area as well that I'm kind of drawing in here, just due to the poor drainage in a lot of these low-lying areas, and much of Visayas has a high potential of some flooding up in here, especially as this kind of moves off towards the north here. A lot of that moisture pumping in from the South China Sea out here, really just running across much of the Philippines today. So really going to see a high amount of precipitation out here, and also noting a lot of those low-lying areas seeing that precip as well. But that's all in this storm for right now. I do want to zoom out though, and you can see this area of cloudiness up towards the north here, across much of eastern China and up towards Japan. This is all due to the rainy season stationary front that does continue to linger up here, still have this going on, and really producing some heavy rain showers and thunderstorms across Kyushu, extending out across South Korea and into China today. So just want to mention as well, and that's really being indicated here on KMA surface analysis, some rain showers across much of the stationary front, with some thunderstorms also being reported out here over China. Now expect this front to continue to linger out here. It's going to gradually drift towards the south by early next week as high pressure begins to ridge back in here. So much of Honshu really going to start to see some clearing, but still going to see some rain around the Ryukyu Islands here throughout much of next week. But that's all for today, everybody. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, as usual, you can post them here at westernpacificweather.com via Facebook, Twitter, or just logging in here. Or also you can post them on YouTube in the comment section below. So thanks again, everybody. Stay safe out there. And also, I do want to mention that I am posting this at storm2k.org. Plenty of meteorological discussion going on in there, and also a lot of meteorological sound people that could help you answer some of your questions if I'm not available. And also if you want to get a little more in depth on these weather systems out here, specifically the tropicals. And lastly, I do want to mention I'm not an official source for any meteorological information here. If you are seeing some warnings being put out across much of the Philippines, and I did not mention it here, and it's coming from the official sources, please check those and take heed. If you are being evacuated due to some flooding and such, make sure you always follow those orders. So thanks again for listening, everybody. Stay safe, and I hope you have a great day.